So let's get started here pretty quickly. First and foremost, good evening, everyone, and thank you very much for your time today. My name is Julio Petrovitch. I'm one of the product managers for NetAlly. And today we'll be talking about a few different things. First and foremost, many of you will be like, who or what is NetAlly? So we'll explain that, so to put you up to date. We'll also be talking about the AirCheck G2 version 4 release that came out in August. Pretty quickly, just for those that still don't know that that's out there. And then we'll be giving a live demonstration on a new product that we just released like last week, called the EtherScope nXG. That name may sound familiar, but you'll be seeing it in a few moments. So let's get started pretty quickly and talk a little about who or what is NetAlly. So, even though many of you may never had heard the name before, reality is that NetAlly has been around in different forms for 26 years. Not only that, we have about 50,000 customers in 70 different countries. One of our products is called Link Live, which is a cloud-based service with 20,000 members on that community. And we have more than 100 employees. So you may be like, okay, how is it that a company that's not so small I've never heard about? Well, the reason may be that you knew us on a different name. For example, a few years ago, from 1993 to 2015, we were part of Fluke Networks. So you may remember the little yellow handheld tools. That was basically us. We also have for 2015 to 2019, short term, we became part of a company called NetScout. So you may remember that some of those yellow tools became green. So now you know why. And then on October of 2019, very recently, and this is why you may have not heard about the NetAlly name, we separated ourselves from NetScout and became our own independent company. So we're not part of a large conglomerate anymore, where they decide where they want to spend money and resources. Basically, we are our own now, and we decide where we spend the money, or where we put the money, or the resources, or the development. Yep. Yes, we're staying green because it was easier. And of course, we have new products as part of that, and one of them we'll be announcing today. If you still don't recognize any of those company names, you may recognize some of the names of the products we've developed over time, like the AirCheck, the little handheld Wi-Fi tester, the Link Runner, a more fiber copper focused Ethernet tester, and the new one called EtherScope nXG, which you'll be seeing here today. Reality is, I think this is one of the first product demonstrations we'll be doing of it, since we just got released like last week. We also got the One Touch, the Link Sprinters, which are the little guys you may have seen that you just plug in to perform a quick Ethernet copper test. Link Live, which is a cloud-based repository and management system. I think they are opening that there. Sorry for the squeaky noises. And for those that have a longer memory, we also have the Air Magnet mobile solutions. Notice one detail there, for those that are curious and know about this product line. There used to be two parts of Air Magnet. There was the mobile or handheld solutions, like survey, spectrum analysis, etc. But there's also an enterprise part to it, with sensors that you mount all over the place. That part stayed with NetScout. Basically, that's who we are. So we are a known company with a different name, in simple terms. So now that you know that, let's get started with the real important information. And we'll start first talking about the AirCheck G2 version 4.0 release. This was released August, if I remember correctly. So it's been around for a little more than a month. And basically, it includes a few interesting updates. One of them is that now it adds support for 802.11ax or Wi-Fi 6. So it gives you visibility or will identify any AX devices, APs, clients, so on. It will also give you details about how that device is configured. You can see some examples here on the screen. So a big change in there. So now if you're installing those new shiny AX access points, need to validate they're configured correctly, then now that availability or visibility is available on the AirCheck. Besides that, one request we had in the past that was like, oh, geez, we really wish you did this, is the ability to upload the throughput or iPerf test results to the cloud or link live. So in the past, you were able to upload almost everything out there, even screenshots, session files, and so on. But you couldn't see the iPerf test results. So now that's available up there. So when you run your iPerf test, you see at the end the link live icon that tells you that those results were uploaded. And then when you go back to link live, you'll be able to see all the test results there. So all the upload, download speeds, jitter information, loss information, and so on. Another thing we added is log files for both the roaming and connection test. So as many of you may know, the AirCheck G2 allows you to perform a roaming or a connection test. And you can generate logs. So it will go through the details of what happened during each step of that roaming or connection process. Still, you were not able to upload that to Link Live, so you had to manually go through the logs. Now, those logs will be uploaded to Link Live, or they're visible there. So you can review that information and do more analysis from the comfort of your office, home, or your cell phone. So no need to go on site to look at the information or even look at the AirCheck itself. Everything can be done remotely. Basically, the idea is to improve collaboration between team members. Wi-Fi analysis is another thing we've added. Basically, now you can manipulate the data that's collected on the session file a lot easier. Yep, on the previous version, you were able to upload the session file information, but basically you only got basic visibility of it. Now, we've added not only the visibility, but you can click on any of the items, for example, number of APs, and that will take you to all the, for example, in this case, 13 APs, let's say. And from there, you can go back and forth and move around all the data a lot faster and without having to go back and forth between pages. So it's a lot easier to analyze all the Wi-Fi information, again, from the comfort of your office, laptop, tablet, or phone. No need to do this directly from the unit anymore. So anyway, those are the biggest things we've added on the AirCheck G2 before. There's more stuff, but what we really want to talk about today is something else. And that's our new product, the EtherScope nXG. If you have more questions about the AirCheck release, feel free to ask. I'll be around, or will be around for the rest of the conference. But now it comes the time for us to show you our new product. As I mentioned, this was released just a week ago. And with us today for the live demonstration is our CTO, James Kahkoska. James, he'll be doing the live demonstration for us today. And we'll be showing you how the product works.
Okay. All right, so let's see here. So this is, let's see, jet lagged, you've had a long day, beta software, New venue, what could go wrong, right? All right, so this is the EtherScope nXG. This is our attempt to fully integrate everything you need for both the wired and the wireline side. So physically, 1.8 pounds. How many kilos? Less than one, yeah, very light, yeah. So wired interface, Ken 100 gig, N-base-T 2.55 gig, 10 gig, full PoE loading capability up to 71 watts. It's like having a light bulb in here. Turn it on, we measure voltage drop. I'll show you that. SFP plus, and now you can run these dual speed SFPs, so it's gig and 10 gig. You don't need to switch SFPs for that. Out the side we have a management port, can be used for remote, also discovery on separate subnets. Inside, 2 Wi-Fi radios, one's a 4x4, one's a 1x1 kind of a connectivity radio. Full Android feature set, camera on the back, speaker, mic, volume controls here on the side. Back you can kind of see that. Okay, I guess I should be disturbed. Down here, micro SD, you can put up to 164 gig in there, I believe, maybe more. Whatever Linux will roll up to, external storage, additional capture space, things like that. USB-C connector, no more special dongles, right? No proprietary jacks. And that's about that. So what we've done here is we've amplified traditionally we've had sort of these monolithic apps. In this case, we've amplified everything out into separate things, and we use a system called intents. It's what you do is when you do a share, you take a picture, share to, and any app that wants to know about something, it sort of registers itself. I care about pictures, and then they show up on the share to side. So we actually use that between our apps to give you sort of a good workflow, but without giving you this onerous mono app to kind of navigate through. So I'll start with the basics here. So auto test is right here. And let me get rid of that. And so let me come out here. So here we have a bunch of different profiles. And I have a couple here set up out of the chute, but our hotel wired and then Wi-Fi. But I've got a bunch of different profiles here. But I'll go ahead and come in here and run the auto test on the wired profile. And basically, we'll come in. It's everything layer 1 through layer 7. So we'll come in, negotiate PoE. You can see the voltage drop here. In fact, we got a reasonably long cable. Good. So we're actually sagging down to 47 volts loaded. So we loaded up to 13 watts. Now it turns out I could come in and set this up to be anything from class 0 to class 8, which is 71 watts on the 802.3 BT standard. And we show you the types of PSEs. This is not an overly exciting one. Link speed and duplex. Again, this would go up to, if this was advertising 2.55 gig or 10 gig, you'd see that. We bold what we actually linked at. So you know you got power, you know you got link, switch. So this is the switch we're connected to here in the place. I'm on port 9 apparently. It's on VLAN 10. It's a Cisco, and I don't think, unfortunately, we don't have credentials, but I'll show you, and as you can imagine, but I'll show you more on that in a second. Switch, DHCP. Here we see the server that gave us the address. I was noticing this before, the lease times are incredibly short, and I think that's just so they can manage the pool, so that the minute somebody walks away, you know, that they get their leases back. Otherwise, you know, because normally in an enterprise environment, you'd see a 24-hour or 72-hour lease time. But you know, we do a lot of these graphics here showing the offer and the acknowledge time. This one's actually quite tight, but you know, offer is the time that it took we sent a discover. It offered us an address. We requested that address. It accepted that response. DNS services, and then anything in here, of course, you can test against. This is a true DNS lookup of all the DNS services that we were given through the DHCP request. And then here's our router. and some response times off that. Let's see, and then any number of targets that you want here. So when I come in here, here's Google, for example. This is actually a full HTTP test. This isn't just a ping or a SYN-ACK. This is us literally pulling the page in with a curl under the hood, right, which allows you to do a full HTTP request. In fact, I could come in here to provision this and put in other things like, hey, if you wanted to know that you absolutely got to a site, you could say, hey, it must contain this string. You can say it must not contain this string. You can verify a certain return code. Sometimes, you generally want a 200 OK, but you may want a 404 to make sure that something isn't actually being hit, and set up proxies and things like that. So pretty much a full capability here to provision the web page pull, and then really a nice graphic of the let me get up here of where the time was spent. So in this particular case, it turns out the data transfer time wasn't much. For us to do the DNS lookup of Google, 3 milliseconds. Let me see here. There we go. 3 milliseconds. The connect time, TCP connect time was nothing. Data start, that's the time that it takes for the server to utter the first HTTP response to us, right? So even here, you can immediately start to see, if somebody's telling you it's slow or I'm having a hard time pulling a web page, you may find out that it has nothing to do with if it's a data start problem, it's likely the server, right? It's not a throughput thing. If it's a long data transfer, then it is actually the throughput bandwidth somewhere in the pipe there. So that, and I've got just a variety of different connection tests in here. But so that's kind of the wired auto test. Here's the Wi-Fi auto test. Let's see, come back out here. In Zurich, let's come in here, start that again. So here basically we do the same thing, connecting, we connect to the network, and so on Wi-Fi. So we're connected to the Zurich AP here, and you can see it's the Aruba AP, and we start trending basically the results, the utilization, retries, and the TX rate. And if I was in a situation to roam, I guess I did get a periodic scan. They talked about roaming this morning. We basically, if I moved around more than, I'm a little too tethered here, but I might be able to make it roam to another AP, and you'd see a pink line coming into play. And all these, by the way, are correlated and back in time, right? So I can come in here and pull them, trends up to 24 hours, and it basically at the same time it's doing signal to noise, utilization, retries, and TX rate. In fact, my TX rate just dropped there. So. And of course, I can come in here and get details on a connection log. In fact, this was the initial connection, right, where it did the scan to figure out what BSSID to get on. And then, in fact, it get authentication timeout. Okay, got timed out and then reconnected. But you can come in here with time tags and see all this. And this stuff can all be pushed to the cloud here, as I'll show you in a bit. So kind of the connection side, channel information about where I'm connected in, and then we always have these links at the bottom here that'll go to different things. I could go right into channel details, for example, and or into a channel map. And this is now showing kind of the overall network. So you're seeing utilization, non-native 2.11 utilization, retries. The purple numbers on the top of the lines are the number of APs, and then the number of clients connected on all of the APs. So let me come back out here. So here's the AP that I'm connected to. Aruba, Zurich, open, kind of boring. And then from above that connection, then everything above that layer 3 and up is the same, right? DHCP test, DNS lookups, page pulls tests, all that is all the same. So we really try to be agnostic above layer 2, so that sort of gives you a sense of the auto test. One of the nice things here also is we also have these things called test groups. So here's all these different profiles of individual connections, but I can come in here and pick any 2 or 3 of these, whether I'm connected to just a BSSID or an SSID, and then automatically save them into a group. So I think I saved before. These profiles, you can see I have quite a few of them, but I can load them into logical profile groups. So I just earlier picked up 3 of the Zurich BSSIDs that I can come in and load. Those are picked. That's kind of under a profile group name, and then I've got just those. And this kind of gives you a convenient way to set up these auto tests to, we've always had profiles, but this actually allows you to do profile groups. And it could be that you want to validate both guest and production networks, and it's kind of an SSID thing. It could be that you want to validate all 5 BSSIDs for your APs are available or from one particular spot. You could do wired tests. We've had guys build profiles where they literally do class 0 through 8 on PoE and then see where it craps out and things like that. So you can kind of build profiles up. It's almost like a scripting on the screen by building up these profiles. And these profiles are really easy to come in and then duplicate, right? I can come in here and duplicate or delete a profile. So a lot of power in these profiles to control all that. So kind of the next thing we do is discovery, and we've actually got a discovery library in here. One of the special things about this product is it has 2 radios, and so we really try to exploit what I'll call link scan. So we have one radio linked to the network, we have another one scanning. And so what happens is we try to mash up the things we see in the air with the things we can see through the connection. And through the connection, of course, you can start ARP sweeping and coaxing all the clients out and basically understand their name and IP addresses. And then at the same time, ideally, the MAC's flying through the air, and we know the MAC from the wireline side, and we know it through the air, and then we can give you best names. And so here I've actually got, so we see we got 447 devices discovered here. And if I come in here, you can see these would normally, in the past, testers and almost every other tool in the Wi-Fi space has been limited to layer 2. So you're always looking at these goofy MAC addresses trying to understand what the heck's going on. And half the time the MAC address, the manufacturer prefix, has nothing to do with the what's on the nameplate, right? It's a Dell, but it's really an Intel. It's a brother printer, but it's a Han Hai Mac, and you just never know quite what's going on. And so you can see, in fact, maybe some of you, there's David's iPhone, desktops, Dragon, and I think and I'm going to remember to touch this every now and then to make it move. There's Keith's iPad, yeah, and so in fact we could go click on Keith's iPad, and here we see it. Set of tools I could do on it. I could do path analysis to it. Let's see if we can ping them. Yeah, so here we're pinging them with marginal success, but and you can control exactly what interface. If you've got multiple interfaces connected, like in this case I've got wired and Wi-Fi connected. So let me come back out here. So yeah, all these devices, in fact, I think somewhere in here ought to be my PC. Okay, so there's me, I'll pick on myself. So there I am, and then this, so here I'm looking at discovery. That's sort of discovery is sort of where we understand layer 3 about the device. So you've got a set of things you can capture on the wired side. I could browse if I had a browser enabled. If this was a printer, I could browse right to its management screen. Anything that actually has a web interface, I could hit browse and blast right into Chrome here. And in this case, it won't work because I don't have a server on my laptop. But kind of a full set of tools here: Telnet, SSH browse, capture, ping, TCP. So let me at least try to ping myself here, and so I'm chugging along, 100% connection rate, and this ping will also, all the trends you see go 24 hours, and they all support this back-in-time swiping, and as Julio mentioned, we just released, so this is a V0. V1, we're already working on pinching, so you can, get, right now there's about a 2-minute view on the screen, and I'll let that ping run and come back to it, because it'll run in the background. So but you can see this is sort of our wired side view of it. And then if you click on these blue links here, basically it takes you over to the Wi-Fi side of it. And so here I can see everything about it. And then everything here is actually a link. I could go directly into the AP, the BSSID, the SSID, or RF and traffic stats, for example, and start trending to my guy here. In fact, let's see here, at the risk of, I really actually wanted to run a speed test on him. Well, let's try it. Give that a go, and then give that a go, and hopefully what we'll see here. Yeah, all right, so there's the yeah, there it is on the side. All right, so you can see the utilization going up. And in fact, let me scroll that up just a skosh. So there you can see the utilization go up, and you can see that I'm actually the one consuming it, right? The total channel utilization is there, but basically I'm sucking down all the utilization on the channel right now of what we're seeing in terms of the utilization. And at the same time, I could be watching retries or RxTX rate. So you can kind of get a sense for that. Let me take him back to, all right, back there. All right, so RxTX rate, yeah, so we're in discovery. Discovery is everything, right? And so we have this progressive filter set here. Well, let me back up one more second. One other thing, you got a ton of sorts here, right? You can sort by problems, by addresses, by manufacturer MACs, by SSIDs. And I just happen to be alphabetical, but I could pick IP addresses and sort that way. And whatever we're sorting on is that lowercase left address item there. So if I sort on manufacturer MAC, for example, I keep the good names, but I'll show you the manufacturer MAC there. So. All right, so but let me go back to names. So we have this pretty powerful progressive sorting thing, and progressive means you can stack it up, right? So I could come in here, pick device types, and let me start back here. 500. Okay, so far I've discovered 525 devices kind of around me and on the network. I could come in here and pick up anything I wanted to, right? So I could pick up network servers and come back out, and now I'm down to 3 of 526, or sorry, 530 servers. And in fact, I could come into any of these, and let's I guess try that one. And that's our DNS server, and I could do a path analysis to it. Let me go ahead and start that. This would be usually a little more exciting, but because we would have SNMP credentials on the first hop. The problem is that, so one of the things about our path analysis is not just a layer 3 trace route, it's actually a layer 2 and 3 merged trace analysis. And so we go in and mine the switch forwarding tables out of all the switches of the MAC addresses. So you would typically see the first couple of interfaces in your network, and then before you went out the WAN. And on any of those, then you could go in and we'd be monitoring the utilization errors, discards along that path, and picking up those errors automatically. But like I said, this is a little less exciting because I don't have credentials. But so that's our path analysis. So come back here to filters. Let me take that out. Let's try host clients. Now what's interesting is every time I do one of these, it actually changes the number here. So normally if I was looking at subnets, we'd see 304 devices on the 10.10 network, but I'll pick hosts and you can see how the number dropped to 219. So, and then as you go through, but if, let's say I only wanted the guys on this 169 network, and we just kind of keep stacking up these guys here. In fact, there's my work groups. I mean, I could filter right down to those 3. And then if I wanted to know if there was anybody else in that domain, I could just kill that one and come back out. So still only 1. So let me well here, let me show you how easy this is. So let's come into there. Here's this work group. Let's pick Here's kind of the default work group. So now you can see host clients on the 10.10 network in the work group domain. Come back out, and there's the 5 guys that met that filter criterion. So you can just kind of come in and in fact, and sometimes you don't even need to look at the results. Just as you go through the mix of things, you figure out that. Let's see here, SSIDs. Okay, here's some, like if I just wanted to know immediately who's on this SSID, I'd come out there and there's all the guys that are on the, let me prove that to you.
But those are the active ones.
The active ones, yeah. Although we save them and they'd be grayed out if they're inactive. So we basically hang on to everything. But I think after a minute or so we age it out.
Time interval?
Pardon?
Can you filter on like a time interval?
Can I tell the lack of time or?
Time interval. I want to see that the device has for the last 5 minutes and stuff like that.
Yeah, no, not yet. That's actually great. Julio, can you grab some notes for me? Seriously, I'm serious. You know, we do have. You can see we got a pretty. So right now we have. In fact, let me go to the Wi-Fi side and show you the. The Wi-Fi filter set. So here we are over here on the Wi-Fi side, and then I can come in. This is just a nav drawer, right? Just like you're used to doing. I can swipe it in from the side. We're using something called material design. It's actually what Google promotes, and but who isn't used to the hamburger stack on the upper left, the ellipses overflow menu on the right. Those pretty standard stuff, right? Nothing's really hidden here. Let's see, so channel overview, I can do the overlap. Let's see, I don't know how this works or not in presentation, maybe not. Okay. And of course I can come in here and pinch and zoom in and pick any particular AP and then go into that channel or AP details, pick them from the map. So here we are. And now that I'm in Wi-Fi, now you can kind of come in from the top and say, hey, I need to come in and look at channels, APs, BSSIDs, clients, whatever you need to do, you can come in from that way. But sometimes you just kind of want to explore around. So since I just happened to drop in on this Aruba AP, here's basically everything we know about it. It's Zurich SSID, but sometimes you'll see 8 or 10 SSIDs coming off a particular AP. Here's the 2 BSSIDs that it's advertising. In fact, you can see they just incremented that nibble right there from an E to an F, right? So those are the 2 different BSSIDs. We've done a lot of work to try to cluster BSSIDs into physical APs. One of the things we've done in the past on our products, and to be honest with you, is just sort of a result of a siloed organization, right? The air magnet guys considered an AP a BSSID. The AirCheck was considering an AP a band representation. So if you had a dual band physical AP, it actually showed up as 2 APs. We've had other places that an AP was just a physical AP, and so we've done everything from every BSSID is an AP to every band grouping of a BSSID is an AP. And so what we really try to do, and when we started on this, it was like, well, let's just clean it up. And an AP is a physical box, a BSSID is a radio. It's an expression of an SSID in a particular channel. But when you come in here to any of these, you've got this ability to sort of navigate around. So I could come in and pick these BSSIDs. Now I'm looking at the 2 BSSIDs, and I can come into any one of these then and pick it. And of course that one's boring because it has no clients on it. Let me come back out here. Let me come into BSSIDs and let me sort by client count. Okay, a little more interesting. So here's our busiest guy here. Has 29 clients on him. Come in, I can look at rates and capabilities on that. When we do AX beacon decodes, the list goes like down to here. There's like 80 information elements in there that we're expressing about AX. And rates and capabilities, I could look at the traffic on this and sort of verify the utilization. I could do location, turn on sound, be watching the health, the retries of this particular BSSID and this particular channel at the same time. So
question.
Yes, please.
You have the option to use an external antenna as well, because I was able to see that. Okay.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, yeah. So external. Sorry. F connector. I think is it F. Yeah, F right there, and then yeah, absolutely. In fact, you can.
Could you also detect then the spatial streams, or the spatial streams are already in the beacons? So
we can, in terms of in the air or through the beacon.
Yeah, that's the question. Yeah. So.
Yeah. I think through if there's anything in the beacon, we can basically show you that. In fact, let me go to the rates.
The external antenna is used because of.
Yeah, so there's the number of streams there.
Yeah.
So rates and capabilities. But what's kind of nice is you can just sort of just move around this pretty much at will. So come in, look at the BSS ID, come in, here's the clients on it, here's, maybe some of you even recognize these devices. Let's try this guy. I can see that Corey's phone XR, iPhone X, I guess, is iPhone 10, is on that channel, connected to Group AP, and then I can go to the AP, I can go to the BSS IDs, I can go to the channels, I can go to channel 6, I can see that there's 4 different BSS IDs on there. So you can just see this ability to just kind of dance around any way you want to go through exploring this thing. Likewise, we have the filters. So let me come back out here. Let's just go into BSS IDs. So on the filter side, let me actually start with the sorts. So sorts, full set of sorts that you'd expect here. Signal, SNR. So if I came in here, I could see the strongest BSS ID. But signal, problems, we have a set of problem log capability. Let me try that over here on discovery. And actually there's probably no, yeah, I don't actually have any problems at the moment. Or there's Wes's machine.
Capturing as well?
Yes, yeah. So let's take Wes here, and let's pick on him for a second. So I've got him in, let me come over here to the Wi-Fi side. Actually, you know what? I think we discovered him through the wire line. But haven't seen him in the air, so he's probably not actually in the area. But let me pick any one of these. Let me come in here to I'll capture a client. Come into a client and pick any one of these, and then just come here to the fab and say capture. And then we go into a capture mode. Of course, capture, you've got a lot of capability here. All we really did was we preloaded that BSS ID in the capture screen here, right? But you can control channel width, channels, what ports, slice sizes, if you want to get more frames, if you just need the headers, file size limit, and then if you want just control data management on there, and a lot of times you don't want all the beacons, you're just focusing on that client. So I'll come in here and go ahead and start the capture, and what's interesting is I'm not capturing anything. So this is what I'm actually, so I'm not actually seeing it in the air at the moment. Let me find something a little more interesting. Yeah, let's see. Let me find, well, let me get back to myself maybe. How about that? I'll keep it a little more honest. Come in here, capture, make sure this guy's okay. We make sure you didn't accidentally get rid of that last guy. Let's go ahead and throw that. And let's start this. And okay, so now we're actually capturing frames. And then, and the capture workflow is really straightforward. You can see a nice graph here, because a lot of times you want to capture, you're capturing, we can't put Wireshark on a tool like this, right? It takes 20 seconds just to load on your laptop, but we can give you a sense for what's going on. In fact, let's try going back to our speed test, and let's try a go there. Now, hopefully, we'll just see the data flip right up. Yeah, look at that. So there's the speed test running. That right now you're really seeing it in perspective, right? Everything we were seeing before just shrunk away because now I'm actually doing the speed test. Let me go ahead and cancel that. I guess a back arrow ought to do it. And then the capture should drop back out. Yeah, now I'm back down in the noise here. And then I'll go ahead and stop this. And then I can save it locally, of course, but I can also have it pushed to the cloud. And in fact, one thing we have is we have a job comment, which is a sticky comment, and then a particular capture comment. So if I wanted to put something in there about the exact place I was capturing, I could do that with the comment. But a lot of times you're going into a site, you're doing a particular job or whatever. So I went ahead and I'll tag that with WLPC Prague, and I'll hit save, and then it's popping it up to link live. And then I guess as long as I have this up, let's go over here.
If you put it on the cloud, where is it stored?
It's going to an AWS server.
In the US?
In the US, yes, yeah. So, in fact, you can see, so this is Link Live. This is our cloud service. Let me take that out of the screen for a sec. So here we have tests. These are all my auto tests. You can see, in fact, a bunch got tagged with the same thing. And in fact, what's nice is you got this free string search here, so I could type WLPC. Let me back up one, a little more interesting, yeah. You can do kind of the progressive autocomplete search, but I could come in and then filter. And same way we're doing the filter chips in the discovery as I went in and filtered things out, right? Exact same thing. In fact, one of our things that we're really trying to do is make the UI on the cloud and the tool the same. There's nothing more distressing when you know how to use the tool and you can't figure out how to use the cloud, right? So hamburger stack, filtering, all that stuff works the same. And so there's a bunch of stuff here. I could say, hey, in fact, these are added too. I could say, I want to see auto tests that only had errors and warnings in Prague, and maybe only errors. Now I'm down to 4. And then I could just come in and look at any. So you can kind of just, the same way, I can pick date ranges, start date, let's see, I guess I could probably, this will be boring. Let me, I'll pick a better filter. So anyway, I can time box this thing, all the tests in the last week, let's say, I guess it was automatically on the end. Let's apply that. So I've got 8 auto tests in the last week. Mostly I work on the test stack and not the production stack. But in fact, there's this AUS, that was in the Austin airport. That was some testing there. So in here, you can basically manage your units. So here's all my units and the last time seen. This is the guy I'm using right now, of course. And then files. Come in here. Here's my capture file that I just got. So 706, so I can come over here. Here's some header information, tells me the unit that got it. I can come over here, pop it down, and get the capture here, and let it complete. There we go. And then just click on that and pop it right into Wireshark. Let's see, 549. There we go, 549. Yeah, I guess it didn't bring up Wireshark. So there's actually the capture that I just did, and in fact, it was on that Aruba. It was on that Aruba BSSID, I think. So yeah, So yeah, you can see a really nice workflow where you could tell literally anybody, out remotely, you could tell them to come in and, oops, hang on, sorry. Pop that back up, pop that back up. Okay, tell them to, you may only want stuff on a channel. Hey, go into channel 6. Sorry, moved a little too fast there. 6. And then I want to do a capture right there, and we'll go in and automatically preload this with 6. You see we disabled the other stuff. I get the beacons too if I wanted, of course. So wired capture, Wi-Fi capture. The wired capture, actually we have an FPGA in here with a dedicated gig of capture RAM. So we actually do line rate 10 gig filtered capture. So you can hang this thing off a tap and at 10 gig rates and know that you've gotten every single packet. So it's pretty high performance pretty high performance capture system there.
If you say filtered capture, this means that you just had a safety headers, or?
No, actually, to save just the headers, that would be more of a, well, let me just go right into the capture tool here. So,
you said it's line rate on filtered captures.
It's line rate on seeing the raw packets, and so filtered afterwards. So, but if you only wanted the headers, you could change the slice size here to, and we have some convenient sizes here you can pick, or full packet, or you can always come in on any of our screens. You'll see we always let you do a custom value. So let's say you needed maybe an RTP packet, and it was 136 bytes long. Then boom, now you have a custom slice length. So. But yeah, so you can pick the channel, the slice, how much you want to capture at the most. You can, of course, stop early. The capture port can be wired or Wi-Fi. So I could come in here. In fact, if I was wondering what was going on my wired, come in, flip into wired. Let me go ahead and clear that out. So no filtering. Oh, just that IP. I could since I don't know what that is, maybe that's me. Come in here, pick the port. I could filter on just a VLAN, and there's also this NOT thing, which is fairly handy. A lot of times you want to say, hey, you know what? I don't want any web traffic. So let me just take 443 and not that, right? So I want everything but web traffic. And so the not filter is kind of nice because it lets you pick things that you want, because sometimes it's easier to pick what you don't want as opposed to what you do want. But let me come back here and open this up. And
can you do even more than one knot, or is it just one?
It's just one knot on the whole thing. Now, but these are additive, right? You can do VLAN and so these will all add up, and then you not invert it basically. So let's see. So wired capture. Let me go ahead and open up for full packets and come in here, and that all looks pretty benign. So we'll come in here and do a start, and since I'm on a switch port, there's a lot of multicast traffic. That's interesting. Not used to seeing that. But this is typically what you'll see, right? You'll see multicast and broadcast. Typically, you'll see mostly broadcast. So I'll go ahead and stop this, and let me go ahead and I'll go ahead and save him to Link Live 2, and let me go ahead and let's see if I can pop him up here, and let's see. Oh, there he just came in now. 712, right? Yeah. All right. So there's my wired guy. Let's come in. So this is, I know you folks are more on the Wi-Fi capture side, so but just to show you that you can do the wired capture side. I don't know why it doesn't bring up Wireshark, but there's my capture, and in fact, you can see we saw those multicasts. Those are all MDNS, multicast DNS, which is actually the Apple tends to use that for advertising stations, and that's where all that traffic is basically coming in. So anyway, wired Wi-Fi capture, you can do either.
I didn't see the radio tap headers. Is there any radio tap?
We do have radio tap on the Wi-Fi side. Yes, yeah. Let me show you that here. So go ahead and pop him up, and I guess I didn't need to really download him. I had him there. Let me. So let's go into there. Yeah, so the radio tap header is here. Although I'm not quite sure what information I would show you out of it. All right. So wired Wi-Fi capture. In fact, this whole time we've been testing, I've had my ping TCP tool running, right? Now I can go back in time and kind of scan through him. And one nice thing about the ping TCP tool, yes, please. Oh, shoot, sorry, thank you. Keep me honest. Let's see, okay, go Control Enter, all right. So yeah, so this whole time I've been actually, doing, pinging my units this whole time. You can see the response time jumped up a little bit here and there, and you can set limits and thresholds and things like that that'll set the loss limit. All right, so that discovery, path analysis I showed you, performance testing. This is our line rate performance test, and so you can either to another one of these testers or to our link runner. Basically, this is if you need to know that all 10 gig worth of your frames are, and you're putting in a new link that you want to verify for NBASE-T. You can do 2.5 gig. We basically, every single packet generated out of the FPGA, time-stamped, sequence numbered, and fully accounted for on the other side. So it's a full hardware. It's actually, the technology for this actually comes out of work we did for telcos, right? And they're all into line rate performance testing for service level agreements and things like that.
Would you then need two of those devices?
Yeah, so we test to, if you want full 10 gig, you need two devices. If you happen to have one of our older one touches or an OptiView XG, you can use that as the peer on the other side. We tried to do some nice backwards compatibility. If you have a link runner, that's also got an FPGA in it. It'll do 1 gig reflection. And then last but not least, we have a software app, so you can target any PC or laptop as it. And so you can come in here basically to any service, and it's kind of, I probably should have set up with another peer, but you basically run, we measure frame loss, latency, jitter on a per packet basis, and you can come in here and basically dial the knobs of, in fact, I can stack up multiple services, so I could just go, let me just make this simple here. Service 1 is going to a particular device. You can pick a reflector or an endpoint, and then the packet size. We also do this, there's a thing called eMix. It's a simulation of internet traffic of mixed frame sizes, where you can actually come in here and, sorry, got that, hang on, give me a spare with me, cancel. Right there. All right, so, and you can come in here and basically say, I want to send a couple of 64-byte packets, and then 1024, then a 256, and then I throw a couple jumbos in, and just build up this exact frame sequence, and then we repeat that over and over again. And so, but let's just go back to a fixed size. Well, I'll leave it there. What the heck? Yes, sir. Oh, time. Okay, yeah. All right, I'll try to wrap here. What do I got? 2 minutes left? All right, 2 minutes. All right, VLAN overrides. You can do full layer 1, 2. You can put it on any VLAN, any prioritization that you want. So layer 2 is VLAN and VLAN priority. Layer 3 is DSCP.
Was it based on cost, or?
It is, in fact. Here.
Is it possible to use DSCP?
In fact, there's DSCP right there. So there's all the DSCP values so yeah, so you can dial layer 2, layer 3 options, so you can validate basically that the prioritization is preserved through the network, but you can do that on all the streams, right? So I can create let's say I'm trying to validate a certain internet link. I can load it up with 5 gig of best effort, but then have 1 gig, let's say it's a 1 gig link of higher priority, and know that got through in the presence of all the traffic, that the appropriate packets were dropped. So line rate performance testing, iPerf. Of course, we have our little test accessory. It's iPerf 3, but you can run it to basically anything, TCP, UDP, iPerf testing. Link Live is our app for managing the unit, and if I was buffering tests, you'd see them starting to show up on the bottom if I didn't have backhaul connectivity at that time, and you can delete or manage them there. Cable tests, that's out the side here. I could do a full TDR of a cable if I had a cable. Of course, there's nothing hooked up now. So no cable, but TDR opens, splits, shorts, all that. Wire mapping, it'll do pin-to-pin to these little end dongle units that we have, so you know that 1 goes to 1, 2 goes to 2, things like that. User guides, of course, on board here. You can, and I normally wouldn't flash read. So I'm running a dev unit here, right? But here's basically the full user guide online. since you have Adobe, you can put other documents on here. Since it has Chrome, it's a full basic Android system. Here's my, I'll show one last workflow here. Anything you're seeing on the screen at any time, you can come in here and, let's see, let me pick something a little more interesting. Come in here and, let's say this overlap map. Come in here and just do what you'd expect to do, which is screen capture, which is volume, and that did the screen capture. Come up here, pick your share, and then share. If you want to share to link live, we always have that icon there. You can attach it to the last test result or save it to uploaded files. So I'll do that and show you that over here in link live. So in the files section here, here's my screenshot that I just took. Right there, so I could just grab it, pull it down, put it in a report. Here's your download button for it. There it is. Now it's in Windows. The one last thing I'll show you then is the analysis here. So I actually grabbed a couple of these earlier. So Julio talked about this, but here I had the unit actually scanning both wired and Wi-Fi discovery, and I'll come in and view the analysis on this, and here you can see, so what's nice is anybody remote can just go out, you have a secretary basically, go out, leave the unit someplace, run for whatever period of time, push the analysis files up, and then remotely you can come in here and basically sort on SSIDs, there's Apple sucks, beautiful, and BSSIDs, clients, interferers, and in fact, I could come in here and if I typed any...
Device connected to the cloud.
It'll go out any interface that it can. So, since we have 4 different interfaces, it could be that I'm just plugged into the management port, but I'm plugged into a span port or something like that, or a different network. Sometimes you have a management network, separate management plane. Or if it's connected using the convenience radio, it'll go out that way. So we just basically sit there in the background, and we're looking for any time we have connectivity, we push that stuff up.
But there's no SIM card or so inside?
No SIM card. No, not cellular. Yeah.
Because it looks like a phone. It's an Android phone.
Yeah.
What's the price for the Android phone, which has no SIM card?
The Android phone, $8,000.
How many?
$8,000. Yeah. So, so anyway, you've got full filtering here. You can see I just typed net and I got to the stations, right? So it's a lot of the same filtering capability. So full analysis in the cloud, files, captures, all the test results. It's all there. So anyway, that's it.